The year is the year of our Lord, 2022. And April in the year of our Lord, 2022. And we are firmly enveloped in the bosom of greatness that is the Nick-Enaissance.
Yes,
I'm one of
indeed.
your hosts for tonight's journey into the Nick-Enaissance, Brenton Bestwick of the BXG Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory T. Filson. Greg, how are you tonight?
I'm just ghost riding through this shit, Brenton. I'm just ghost riding.
Ouch. We are here. April is a theme month. We don't do a lot of theme months. It's more of a tournament style thing. They do theme months. But we are going to mark the occasion for April with a theme month. The theme is the Nick-Enaissance, of course, Nicolas Cage making his return to, big budget. I don't know how big the budget is, but making his return to, studio motion picture in theater, big deal movie with The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which debuts at the end of this month, which got rave reviews at South by Southwest. I may add. But we're going to kick things off for the month of the Nick-Enaissance by doing our top 5 favorite Nick Cage movies, as well as listener submissions. The man's been in over 100, well over 100 movies. And we're going to get into this later in the month when we do kind of a deep dive into the career of Nicolas Cage. But a stat that I read in an article recently was that since 2012, Leonardo DiCaprio has done 9 movies. Tom Cruise has done 11 movies, and Nicolas Cage has done 42 movies. To be fair, many of those were straight to VOD budget. He's paying off his debts, but still 42 movies. So 42 movies in that period of time is a lot of movies. So we're going to celebrate those movies, not those movies so much, but maybe we'll see. But we're going to celebrate the career of Nicolas Cage tonight with our top 5 favorite Nicolas Cage movies. Let's get things kicked off with number 5.
My number 5, and I will say that I don't know if this is in particular order for me, because a Nick Cage movie is
picking your favorite kid.
It's an essence. I don't have kids, so I don't know. I assume that we all have our favorite kid, even if we don't tell them. You just say, yeah, you're all my favorite, but hey, Nick Cage, Nick Coppola, you're my favorite. For me, my number 5 is The Rock. Sean Connery is in this. Ed Harris in this movie. If you've never seen it, it's obvious. It's talking about Alcatraz. It's escaping off that. None of that matters. None of that actually matters. This is just a escape movie with Nick Cage going completely crazy. This is, and we'll get in this with, probably most of our movies. This is Nick Cage going full Nick Cage. You have the background there from Conair. There's something about Nick Cage, the Nick Cage rage, as I will call it,
right?
That is just immaculate. I don't know if other people do it, not even as I wouldn't say as well, but even do it. They can't do it because there's something that's cunning about it. There's something nothing's angry about it though. Most of the time when you say rage, you think angry, but it's nothing. There's no anger. It's just pure joy about being mad. And that is, to me, what The Rock does is every time he's mad about it, Sean Connery's welcome to The Rock. And you're excited about that line. But right. Nick Cage is just I'm just going to do what I do. I'm going to Nick Cage this movie. This is the mid-90s. This is the essence of Nick Cage. It's not the best of Nick Cage, but this is purely that middle of the Nick Cage movie where he has the smile on his face. He has the cunning ability. it's not a great movie, but Nick Cage is why you watch this movie, even though Sean Connery and Ed Harris are in this. The reason why you go back to this movie, and I've watched the movie a couple times, is because Nick Cage is so himself rewatchable.
Yeah, I actually was upset with myself because we did Guilty Pleasures last week for the Monday episode, and I don't know how I didn't say just Nick Cage the person is one of my guilty pleasures. Because
is it guilty? I think it's just a pleasure. I think it's just a pleasure. Yeah.
Right. Number 5 for me is really what, in my opinion, kind of started the Nick-Enaissance.
Sure.
And it's a movie that we reviewed, and it's Pig.
Sure.
A movie that many thought he should have been nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor. It was a really understated performance. This is a movie where he doesn't show the Nick Cage rage.
Yeah.
He's more understated. He's quiet. He's thoughtful. But just a really great performance. And I think that it's something that reminded people, as they stated in that article, he's the cover article for GQ this month, large part due to the movie coming out. But they said it's easy to forget this with the last 10 years of him doing movies that the names of them and the description of the movies sound like an 11-year-old did a Mad Lib.
Right.
But Nick Cage is one of the great actors of our time, right?
Oh, he's a great actor. Yeah.
And he's Academy Award winning, nominated more than once. And I think that this movie, he won some awards for Best Actor. And I do think that this is a great movie and people shouldn't sleep on it, and they should take the time. The premise is preposterous, but take the time and watch it because there's a really good movie in there, and it's Pig. That's number 5 for me.
It was actually 6 for me. It falls out of this, but it's because it's not the Cage that you expect. And and for me on this, it was more of the Cage, the rage in the cage. Is what I was expecting with my top 5. My number 4 is Conair, which is behind you. I loved it. And like I said, I don't know.
Number 4.
Is this 5 through 1? I don't, like for me, it's like Cage is Cage. All, it's just, this movie's amazing. It's insane. He has that just the luscious locks. Nothing makes sense. What I love about this movie is literally nothing makes sense. And yet Nick Cage is captivating. And it's just, we talk about movie stars a lot on our podcast. And to me, this is the essence of him being a movie star. Is he has the hair. This movie doesn't make sense. But this movie still made a ton of money. And people actually really like it. But there's nothing about this movie that makes any sense. And that's the power of Cage.
The power of Cage.
The power of Cage.
Yeah, I'll get into my thoughts on Conair in a little bit. Number 4 for me is The Rock, and I'm not going to retread a lot of what you said. It is it's an escape movie. Like you said, I think that you come for Sean Connery to this movie,
right?
But you get, an
you
actor
stay because you're locked in the cage.
Yeah, I mean, you get an actor who's very much at the height of his powers and his popularity at that time. I guess I didn't realize this, but this is a Michael Bay movie, The Rock.
It is a Michael Bay movie.
That's astonishing, honestly. But
it is and it isn't. Like, if you go back, you're like, well, that makes sense. But like in the moment, it doesn't. But you realize it's just action and just glitz.
Yeah. We'll do audience now. And I have the list here. EJ, Con, National Treasure, Melissa, National Treasure, and Conair. David S. from Carn City, Conair, and The Rock. They haven't actually gotten to the point in Carn City where he goes on that binge of ridiculous movies. They haven't arrived at that.
No.
They think that, like, The Sorcerer's Apprentice is new. Anthony Walker, Wicker Man, John Kish, the Weatherman.
I'm surprised they have actual moving pictures in Garden City. I just will add that. Just the fact they have moving pictures in Garden City is surprising. So good for them.
Fair. The Weatherman is a Nick Cage movie that I've never seen and always wanted to.
My mom really likes it. My mom and I saw it together. It is a good movie. My mom would probably put this very high up on her list. I didn't ask her, but she would have this high up on her list.
Austin Garza, tournament style. Ghost Rider, Ron Orr, The Rock, Jared Lambert, National Treasure, Gone in 60 Seconds, Conair. Tina, C, The Croods and Conair, Barry Jones, Face Off, Ty McAfoo's Matchstick Men, Face Off.
Janie also Face Off and National Treasure.
Yeah.
Big pluses for her.
Right.
My number 3, speaking of Janie, is Face Off. John Travolta, Nick Cage. This movie is completely, pardon my French, fucking insane. The premise of this movie is they literally switch their faces. You know, because Nick Cage is this bad guy and John Travolta is this good guy. There's a whole thing that happens. None of this, I will say, matters. It doesn't actually matter in this whole sense of thing. Nick Cage is this whole thing where he like gropes a girl in the Catholic Church. It's super weird. The thing that I will say is that boat scene took 4 days to shoot at the end of the movie. And it also lasts for 45 minutes. It is a completely bonkers movie. He says, face off like 20 times. Movie is 9 hours long. It's entirely rewatchable. I've watched this. It's one of those weird movies that somehow is long, but you also just love it because it's like 4 different movies in one. So it doesn't feel like you're watching one movie, like because nothing's coherent and nothing makes sense. So the fact that nothing matters, you're like, oh, I'm watching 4 different movies. And so it ends up being like these movies are 45 minutes long. It's like a mini series that just happens to be a movie that is put together somehow. This is John Travolta at like post, like, so Nick, John Travolta fell off the map and then he's in Pulp Fiction. And then he's back because of Pulp Fiction. And then he
falls off the map again.
And then he does this movie and then he falls off the map again because he's a massive like weirdo Scientologist, like weird guy. But this is like his last like fall to grace here. And then it's just Nick Cage just doing everything. He's trying to sound like John Travolta. He's trying to look like John Travolta, even though he has the face of him. All this, it's so weird. This movie is, I would say it's like the tastiest batshit. You get like it's the best way for me to say it's the tastiest batshit. I love this movie. I love it. It's so bad and so good all at the same time. But that to me is like a Nick Cage thing. So bad, but like you want to go back and watch it. Like there's nothing good about this movie, but it's also like I need to see it.
Number 3 for me, and I have a little surprise for you. We're going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
We're
National Treasure. National Treasure. For me.
Damn, I thought it'd be higher, Brent.
No, my number 1 is going to be a surprise, I think.
Okay.
But National Treasure is like, it's probably the best Indiana Jones ripoff.
Oh yeah, it is.
Movies.
It is.
I can't think of another, like any other. I mean, Uncharted, if it like continues to improve, maybe has a possibility or an opportunity to do that. But the first National Treasure movie is it's a good heist movie, but then it's also, Sean.
It's
Bean
a national treasure,
right? Sean Bean plays the antagonist, and there's the whole thing, and it's very rewatchable. It's very accessible. It's a Disney movie. It's very accessible. They're going to be making a series, a Disney Plus series based on National Treasure. Unfortunately, Nick will not be involved, which is kind of bullshit.
Disgraceful.
It is disgraceful, but I think that this is one of those things, and I would say the first one's better than the second one, but they're very family friendly. they're, like I said, they're very accessible. They're very rewatchable. They're very family friendly. I can't remember if it's this one or the second one where he slides down the banister in England and says, "Hello." I think that's the second one, but I can't.
I believe it's
Yeah.
the second one. Yeah.
I don't know. It might be the first one because it has to do with the Resolute desks. And
True.
I feel like that one was in the first one.
I always feel like when I watch these movies, I always watch them kind of together.
Yeah.
So it's always, that's the weird thing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
They're just that
one.
good.
That's a good Nick Cage like face moment. Like
yeah,
he does like the whole thing. So yeah, National Treasure for me, number 3.
2 for me is actually the best movie he's been in. It's Leaving Las Vegas. He won an Academy Award for this movie. This is where we approve that he, as much as we joke around about him, he's actually a good actor.
I don't joke around about it.
Well, I mean, like in the fact that when I say we, I mean the greater we.
Yeah, sure.
We both think he actually is a good actor.
He is a good actor.
He is a good actor. But there was people that crap on him, and they're wrong. And Leaving Las Vegas is like that proof that he is a great actor. He is a Coppola. I mean, there's things about him like, and this movie's awesome. Like this movie is like hits you in all the ways. It's one of those things where, when actors say like you do 1 for you and then you do 5 for everybody else. Right. I don't know if that's necessarily what he was feeling, but like this feels like where he's like, oh, I'm doing this for, I actually think this is where he's like, I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to do a good movie that isn't going to be panned. There's nothing weird about it. It's a weird movie.
It is a weird
it's not
movie.
Weird. It's not weird for him. It's
right.
Because weird for him is who knows. But in the sense of actually making movies, it's like, this is just a good movie. It's heartfelt. It's touching. He still gets to be Nick Cage. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like he still gets to be Nick Cage, but it's so different than the other movies that we talk about. And obviously, he won an Academy Award for it against like a good group of people too. So it's well earned. It's not some crap Academy Award. No Academy Award is crap, but like this is one where he
except
fully
the fucking
earned
Fish
it.
movie.
Well, except for the fucking Fish movie, but yeah, exactly. The Fish fucking movie, get out of town. And Green Book. Green Book's terrible too. But this is like, I had to put this on the list. This is my thing where like, I had to fit this in. I couldn't put it at 1 because while he won an Academy Award for it, it's not what he's known for it in some degree, but this is not the Nick Cage that I know and love.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's good, it's great Nick Cage, but it's not the Nick Cage I know and love.
Yeah. Number 2 for me is Conair. And I'll tell you why really the reason it's not number 1 is because he's not the best character in this movie. Sure. Like his character is not like John Malkovich just absolutely chews on this movie.
Oh, every scene, he's just,
yeah, one of the best.
You think the
villains.
scenes are made out of bread with John Malkovich? Yeah,
he's and Buscemi also.
Yeah,
but undeniable the look in this movie, and I do the hair when he steps.
Look at that smile.
Got the flowing locks and everything. This is one of those quintessential 90s action movies.
Yep.
And I think it was. It's not, like you said, it's not his best movie because that's Leaving Las Vegas, but this might be the best Nick Cage movie, if that makes sense.
100%. I also just, and this is not Nick. We need more movies like this.
Yeah.
We need movies that are silly and actiony and don't mean anything, but also are like cool. Like this movie's a cool movie. Like if you say you like Conair, no one's like fuck that movie. Like everyone thinks this movie's at least watchable,
right?
And most people think this movie's cool. Like it's a cool movie. Like it's a fun movie to watch. I wish I would have saw this in theaters. Yeah. Like this is one of those things. Sure. I would not agree. This is what I should say. I wish 25-year-old me could have seen this in theaters when it come out, because I would have been like, this is incredible.
Yeah. What year was this released?
96?
Oh, I just had
97.
I just had his IMDb up. Damn it.
It's the latter part of the 90s. I know that.
It's not. Face Off was 97. The Rock was 96. Yeah. Leaving Las Vegas was 95. Con Air. I gotta go way back. That's the problem. Like the problem, but he's got so many movies. It's hard to like just sit and scroll through them all. 98 City of Angels. This is what I mean. And like all joking aside, this is what a tear for your career. 95 Leaving Las Vegas, 96 The Rock, 97 Con Air, 97 Face Off, 98
imagine being him. It's amazing.
Yes, 98 Snake Eyes.
And just to backtrack on our like Rotten Tomatoes discussion, 55% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What, Con Air? Yeah, what's the audience score?
I just have it up. For that, the audience score has to be 125%. I'm just guessing that more people, but it's taking its time here. 75.
Yeah, that's kind of low.
What? This movie's okay. That's sick. Okay.
Yeah, number one.
So my number one, for me, it's National Treasure.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say National Treasure is like it made multiple movies, and people generally like these movies. It's Nick Cage kind of doing like he's free to do whatever he wants in these movies. And I think that's what makes it the most fun is like, I think the idea like initially with these movies is that like, oh, it's somewhat serious, but it's like, but we have Nick Cage and it's a heist movie, or it's a heist movie. It's an Indiana Jones movie. And then he's like, what if I just be Nick Cage in this movie? And you're like, okay, I guess that works. And then it works tenfold. They make 3 of these movies, and they're all
2.
Like
two.
Or 2. I'm sorry, they make 2, and then whatever.
Book of Secrets. Yeah.
The thing I will say about these 2 movies is like, you and I were saying we couldn't remember because they're both really good. Like they're fun to watch, and like I've never watched the first one without watching the second one immediately afterwards, which tells you a lot about what he's doing and the appeal that he has in these movies. I wish they would do more. In the sense of, I think younger, and I see this as such a way. I think younger generations need to be introduced to Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I really do, and because like he's a fun guy. It's like you read the article on GQ, I read the article on GQ, and did you watch the video of him being interviewed too?
I watched him posing in the clothes. I didn't see the actual video.
Like he's great. Like it's one of those things where like I think more people need to be exposed to him because he's one of these people that's like, as much as we like, Christian Bale or Leo, there's people like Nick Cage that are awesome and need to be exposed to other people. And it's just for him to be in another National Treasure movie would be a national treasure for us. And I truly believe that. Like I'm not trying to be like weird. Like it sounds maybe weird, but like he is good. And there is something about him because like he's different. You know, he is different than other people. Like he
I think it was part of the in the article it said his acceptance speech for Leaving Las Vegas for when he won the Academy Award was, I just really love acting. Right.
And he does. That's like the thing. It's like how many people that actually do it love it?
Right.
Probably not that many. It's just a paycheck, but he does. And it's like, that's why he does 42 movies in 10 years, even if they're not good. It's just whatever.
Right.
And he's a cool dude. He owned some castles. He lost some money. You know what? God bless him.
How to give a dinosaur head back to Mongolia.
Exactly.
Like that's, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah. We'll get into full. We'll
just
really
the exploits.
Deep dive.
Yeah, number one for me, and again, I said that this was probably going to be a little bit of a surprise because it is more of like a cult movie, which is saying something when you're dealing with Nick Cage. But my favorite Nick Cage movie is Lord of War.
Oh wow!
He plays. It's him and Jared Leto.
He's good.
And the antagonist, which is like DEA or ATF or whatever agent, is Ethan Hawke. And he plays a guy who sells arms. He's an arms dealer. He's like a mercenary arms dealer. And I feel like it's maybe the most criminally underrated Nick Cage movie. And it's a
good movie.
It's one of the higher scores on IMDb.
Yeah.
for averaging out. I think it's like a 7.6 or something like that. It's really good. And
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is
thing
good.
about him is like, if you go back, skip all the VOD stuff, but go back to the middle 2000s and the late 90s. I mean, this guy was a hit machine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was turning out movies of a high quality year after year. And then things started not to work as well. Ghost Rider, whatever, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, this and that, Season of the Witch. Some of those movies were god awful, and he just fell off the realistic acting face of the earth in terms of being like a viable box office guy. But I think that you saw with Pig, this guy still can act. Like, he still has acting chops. And I think that after he puts, this whole thing with the unbearable weight of massive talent kind of behind him, we're going to see like the next phase of his career in this sort of like 50 to 60 year age range. And I think that he's going to churn out some movies that are, again, very special.
I would bet everything I have that he gets nominated for another Academy Award.
Yeah, within the next decade.
Within the next decade. Yeah. I 100% wouldn't put, and I would also say that he makes another movie that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like the way the Pig was, but I mean like the fact that it makes money.
Yeah.
People are proud, like
excited about it.
Excited about what it does. I think this, the Unbearable Weight of Talent, like that movie.
People are
awesome.
Excited about it. People are
very excited about it.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
excited about it. It looks ridiculous, and he wanted someone else to play him initially, and then they're just like, no, we need you to play him.
Yeah.
And and we'll get more into the career of him, but what more can you say about Nick Cage in the thing? He's a legend. It's weird. I know everyone loves Nick Cage. It is one of those things now where it becomes a thing, but it's like there is something he said about like he is actually not a good actor. He's a great actor.
One of our great actors. Yeah.
Yeah. One of our great
100%.
actors.
100%. Thanks for joining us on the first stop of our tour through the Nick-Enaissance.
Can't wait.
We will re-adjourn next week. In the meantime, you can catch us on our YouTube channel for videos and reviews, BXG Podcast, social media, Instagram at BXG Podcast, at GTFills, at Y2B, Facebook.com/BXG Podcast, Instagram, we already did, Twitter at BXG Podcast, at Y2B, at GT Filson. BXG publishes 9 a.m. on Fridays and Mondays, Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific, 4 a.m. Hawaiian.
Aloha.
On podcast services around the globe, Apple, Spotify, Google, you name it, we're there. If you like this video, subscribe and share and ring the bell.
Ring it like you're at Long John Silver's.
Right. I'm still not 100% sure what that means. Take care, friends.
Thanks for watching and listening.